I'm actually genuinely curious. Are there any fans of Meghan Markle in tonight?
No.
The entertainment world is absolutely reeling tonight after Piers Morgan delivered what can only be described as the most devastating takedown of Meghan Markle's career ambitions we have ever witnessed. In a bombshell interview that has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and Montecito, the controversial broadcaster didn't just throw shade at the Duchess of Sussex, he obliterated her completely. During what appeared to be a casual conversation, Morgan dropped a series of truth bombs that have allegedly left Meghan absolutely seething with rage. Sources close to the situation whisper that the former actress is beyond furious, reportedly pacing the floors of her Montecito mansion as her carefully crafted public image crumbles before her eyes. The brutal assessment began when Morgan was asked about Meghan's recent return to acting, specifically her appearance in the upcoming Netflix film Close Personal Friends. His response was nothing short of savage. Rather than offering polite congratulations or diplomatic silence,
it turns out that had the Archbishop of Canterbury secretly married them in their garden, he would have broken the law and been sent to prison. So I thought, yeah, old Princess Pinocchio's off on a good one
Challenge.
Here.
Morgan unleashed a scathing critique that cut straight to the heart of what many industry insiders have been saying privately for months. "There's only one Meghan I can actually still be civil to, and it's the one sitting to my left," Morgan declared, making it crystal clear that he was not referring to the Duchess of Sussex. The dig was so sharp, so perfectly timed, that even the studio audience seemed to gasp at the sheer audacity of it. But Morgan wasn't finished. He continued his relentless assault by questioning whether anyone in the room was actually a fan of Meghan Markle. When only one solitary hand was raised in the entire audience, Morgan's response was pure gold. "Actually, that's one more than I expected. I have to be honest," he said with that trademark smirk that has made him both beloved and despised in equal measure. The implications of this moment cannot be overstated. Here was a prominent media figure, essentially confirming what royal watchers and entertainment industry veterans have suspected for years. Meghan's popularity has not just waned, it has completely collapsed.
And eventually my boss had said, can you just apologize to Meghan Markle, or you're going to have to, maybe lose your job. I went, I'll take the job option, thanks, I'll leave. And I walked off into the sunset.
Right.
The woman who once believed she could conquer Hollywood and transform the monarchy simultaneously is now struggling to find supporters even in friendly territory. Palace insiders suggest that this public humiliation represents a turning point for the Sussex brand. After years of carefully orchestrated media appearances and strategic leaks designed to maintain relevance, Meghan suddenly finds herself facing the harsh reality that public opinion has shifted dramatically against her. The timing of Morgan's comments couldn't be more devastating. Just as Meghan attempts to relaunch her acting career and establish herself as a serious Hollywood player, one of Britain's most influential media personalities has essentially declared her persona non grata. Industry sources whisper that this kind of public rejection from someone with Morgan's reach and influence could spell disaster for her comeback ambitions. But this explosive revelation was just the beginning. What Morgan revealed next would shake the very foundations of everything Meghan has built since leaving the royal family behind. The atmosphere in that studio became absolutely electric as Piers Morgan shifted from casual commentary to full-scale character assassination. What happened next has reportedly sent Meghan Markle into what sources describe as a complete meltdown behind the closed doors of her California compound. Morgan didn't just criticize Meghan's acting aspirations. He systematically dismantled her entire credibility by resurrecting what he called Princess Pinocchio and her web of alleged lies during that infamous Oprah Winfrey interview. The broadcaster's voice dripped with contempt as he methodically picked apart claims that he insists were deliberately fabricated to damage the royal family. "The Oprah Winfrey whine, as I call it," Morgan declared with obvious disgust. His choice of words was deliberate and devastating. By calling it a whine rather than an interview, he reduced what Meghan probably considers her greatest triumph to nothing more than petulant complaining. But the real bombshell came when Morgan revealed the specific lies that ultimately cost him his career at Good Morning Britain. According to the controversial host, Harry and Meghan claimed that the Archbishop of Canterbury had secretly married them in their back garden 3 days before their televised wedding. Morgan's team did what any responsible journalist would do. They fact-checked the claim. The results were explosive. Morgan revealed that had the Archbishop actually performed such a ceremony, he would have broken the law and faced prison time. The secret garden wedding that Meghan tearfully described to Oprah was, according to Morgan, a complete fabrication designed to make their public ceremony seem less authentic and more performative. "So I thought, yeah, old Princess Pinocchio is off on a good one here," Morgan said with barely contained fury. The nickname Princess Pinocchio has reportedly become the talk of royal circles, with palace insiders allegedly using it in private conversations about the Duchess of Sussex. Morgan didn't stop there. He went on to systematically dismantle other aspects of the Oprah interview that he claims were pure fiction. The mental health struggles, the racism allegations, the claims about being cut off financially. According to Morgan, every single dramatic revelation was designed to damage and attack the royal family, the monarchy, and all of it, and it made me puke. The broadcaster's visceral reaction speaks to something deeper than professional disagreement. This appears to be personal outrage from someone who believes he witnessed a calculated attack on an institution he holds sacred. Morgan's willingness to sacrifice his career rather than apologize to Meghan has transformed him into something of a folk hero among royal supporters who share his skepticism. Perhaps most damaging of all, Morgan revealed the staggering public response to his stance. 57,000 people complained to British television regulators, but they weren't complaining about Meghan. They were supporting Morgan's right to question her claims. It was, he proudly noted, a world record for complaints defending his position. But Morgan's revelations about the Oprah interview were just the tip of the iceberg. What he exposed next would reveal an even more disturbing pattern. The entertainment industry has always been brutal, but what's happening to Meghan Markle right now represents something unprecedented in Hollywood history. Multiple sources within the entertainment capital are now speaking openly about what they describe as a complete and total rejection of the Sussex brand, with one particularly damning quote that has allegedly sent Meghan into absolute panic mode. "There's no appetite left for them in LA," a prominent Hollywood insider revealed to Page 6, in what can only be described as the entertainment equivalent of a death sentence. But that wasn't even the most devastating blow. Another source twisted the knife deeper, declaring, "People are sick of them. The act has gotten stale." The implications of these statements cannot be overstated. This isn't just casual gossip from jealous competitors or disgruntled former employees. These are industry professionals speaking on record about a woman who once believed she could effortlessly transition from cable television actress to global superstar simply by marrying into royalty. What makes this career meltdown even more spectacular is the timing. Just as Meghan attempts to stage her acting comeback with close personal friends, the very industry she's trying to conquer has essentially declared her persona non grata. Sources describe her current situation as hopeless in professional settings, painting a picture of a woman completely out of her depth in high-stakes business environments. The Netflix debacle has become legendary within entertainment circles. According to multiple reports, Harry's behavior during crucial meetings was so inappropriate that executives were left questioning whether they were dealing with serious professionals or elaborate pranks. The hot chocolate incident, where a grown man allegedly showed up late to a $1 million meeting and then asked for a children's beverage, has reportedly become a cautionary tale shared among industry veterans. But perhaps most damaging to Meghan's reputation is the growing perception that she's convinced she's smarter than everyone and dismissive. This characterization suggests that her attitude, rather than any lack of talent or opportunity, is what's destroying her Hollywood prospects. Industry insiders describe working with someone who refuses to take direction, dismisses experienced professionals, and approaches every interaction as if she's doing others a favor by gracing them with her presence. The contrast with her previous royal status couldn't be more stark. When Meghan was a working member of the British royal family, Hollywood's most powerful figures would have moved mountains for a chance to work with her. Now, according to these brutal assessments, those same executives are actively avoiding any association with the Sussex brand. Entertainment lawyers and talent agents are reportedly advising their clients to maintain distance from any Sussex-related projects. The phrase "toxic by association" has begun circulating in industry circles, suggesting that even peripheral involvement with Harry and Meghan could damage other careers. The most chilling aspect of this career collapse is how rapidly it's accelerated. Less than 5 years ago, Meghan was fielding offers from major studios and streaming platforms. Today, she's struggling to generate interest for what appears to be a low-budget independent film where she's essentially playing herself. But the Hollywood rejection was just the beginning of Meghan's public relations nightmare. What happened at that Los Angeles Dodgers game will go down in royal history as one of the most cringeworthy public appearances ever captured on camera. The video footage that emerged from Meghan and Harry's World Series attendance has become the subject of brutal analysis from body language experts, entertainment commentators, and royal watchers who describe it as nothing short of a complete disaster. The images tell a story that no amount of public relations spin can fix. While Meghan cavorted around their private box like she was auditioning for a cheerleading squad, Harry sat frozen in what experts describe as a state of complete emotional detachment. Body language specialist Mark Bowden, who has analyzed the footage extensively, suggests that viewers are literally witnessing Harry's soul leave his body in real time. The contrast between the couple couldn't have been more stark or more telling. Meghan, desperate for attention and validation, bounced around the luxury suite with theatrical enthusiasm that looked completely manufactured. Her behavior resembled someone performing for cameras rather than genuinely enjoying a sporting event. Every gesture appeared calculated, every expression seemed forced. leading observers to question whether she has any authentic emotions left or if everything is now performance art. Meanwhile, Harry's expression throughout the entire ordeal told a completely different story. Royal commentators describe his demeanor as that of a man who has completely given up on life. Gone was any trace of the cheeky prince who once charmed the world with his genuine smile and infectious energy. In its place sat a hollow shell of a man who appeared to be questioning every decision that led him to that moment. The most damaging aspect of the footage isn't just how miserable Harry appears, but how completely oblivious Meghan seems to his obvious distress. While her husband sat in what can only be described as visible anguish, she continued her manic celebration with her unnamed friend, creating a spectacle that has become a source of secondhand embarrassment for viewers worldwide. Entertainment industry insiders suggest that this video represents everything wrong with the Sussex brand. The couple's inability to read a room, their tone-deaf approach to public appearances, and their complete disconnect from authentic human emotion all combine to create content that repels rather than attracts audiences. The timing of this public relations disaster couldn't have been worse. Just days before the footage emerged, Harry had announced his upcoming visit to Canada to support veterans and armed forces personnel. The optics of celebrating an American team's victory while planning to honor Canadian military service created a narrative disaster that even experienced crisis management teams would struggle to contain. Canadian fans, already sensitive about their beloved Blue Jays losing the World Series, were reportedly outraged to see Harry wearing Dodgers gear while simultaneously planning to visit their country. Social media erupted with comments from furious Canadians who felt betrayed by what they perceived as Harry's sporting disloyalty. But the Dodgers debacle was just the prelude to an even more explosive scandal brewing behind the scenes. The entertainment world exploded into chaos when details emerged about what insiders are calling the most embarrassing celebrity meltdown in recent memory. The scandal that erupted from Kris Jenner's 70th birthday celebration has exposed Meghan Markle's desperate need for attention and her complete inability to understand how Hollywood actually works. What happened at that star-studded party hosted by Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez reads like a masterclass in how not to behave at an A-list event. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Meghan initially demanded that photos of her and Harry be posted on social media, then frantically tried to have them removed when the public reaction was less than flattering. The sequence of events reveals a level of calculation and manipulation that has shocked even seasoned Hollywood veterans. Sources suggest that Meghan was initially furious when the first batch of party photos didn't include her and Harry, leading to what insiders describe as frantic calls to ensure their images were prominently featured in subsequent posts. But then something went terribly wrong. The photos that eventually surfaced showed a couple that looked completely out of place among the genuine A-listers in attendance. Harry appeared drunk and disheveled, with body language experts noting his inappropriate focus on Kris Jenner's physical appearance. Meanwhile, Meghan's forced smile and desperate attempts to insert herself into every frame created an impression of someone trying far too hard to prove she belonged. When the public reaction proved overwhelmingly negative, panic set in. According to Page 6 reporting, the Sussex team initially claimed there had been consent forms at the party that Harry and Meghan had signed, explicitly requesting that no photos be posted on social media. This explanation would have provided perfect cover for their embarrassing behavior. There was just one problem. The consent forms never existed. When confronted with this fact by journalists, Kardashian sources flatly denied that any such paperwork had been distributed at the party. The alleged consent form story was, according to multiple sources, a complete fabrication designed to make the Sussexes look like victims rather than opportunists. The implications of this lie extend far beyond a simple social media misunderstanding. Royal commentators suggest that this incident reveals a pattern of deception that goes to the heart of Harry and Meghan's credibility crisis. When people lie about trivial matters, observers naturally wonder what they might do when facing more serious challenges. The Kardashian family's response has been swift and decisive. Sources close to Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner describe them as extremely angry with the Sussex team for creating unnecessary drama around what was supposed to be a milestone celebration. The family's willingness to publicly contradict the Sussex version of events represents a significant escalation in Hollywood's rejection of the couple. Perhaps most damaging of all, this scandal has reinforced the perception that Meghan and Harry bring chaos wherever they go. The fact that they managed to overshadow a major celebrity birthday celebration with their manufactured drama has reportedly convinced other high-profile figures to avoid inviting them to future events. But the Kardashian debacle was nothing compared to what happened next. The mask completely slipped off Meghan and Harry's carefully constructed public persona when they failed to attend the funeral of someone they claimed was their dear friend and mentor. The absence of the Sussex couple from Dr. Jane Goodall's memorial service has exposed what many suspected all along. Their relationship with the renowned conservationist was nothing more than a calculated public relations exercise designed to enhance their environmental credentials. When Jane Goodall passed away at 91, Harry and Meghan rushed to release a statement that read like something written by their most sentimental publicist. They described the legendary scientist as a visionary humanitarian scientist, friend of the planet, and friend to us, going on to claim that her commitment to changing lives extends beyond what the world saw and also to what we personally felt. But the most revealing part of their tribute was the deeply personal detail they chose to include. She held our son Archie when he was first born, and showered love and care to those who were privileged to know her, the statement declared, painting a picture of intimate family friendship that allegedly never existed. The funeral guest list tells the real story. Among those who actually showed up to honor Jane Goodall's remarkable life were Nancy Pelosi, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jose Andres, who is supposedly one of Meghan's close Hollywood friends. These are people with genuinely busy schedules and real responsibilities, yet they made time to pay their respects to someone who had genuinely impacted their lives. Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, were nowhere to be found. Despite having private jets at their disposal for concerts and baseball games, despite having relatively empty calendars compared to working royals or active politicians, they couldn't be bothered to attend the funeral of someone they claimed was a beloved family friend. The absence becomes even more damaging when you consider Jane Goodall's own words about her relationship with the Sussex couple. In a previous interview with People magazine, the conservationist had made it clear that stories about her close friendship with Harry and Meghan were greatly exaggerated. She described meeting them only a handful of times and expressed bewilderment at media reports suggesting they were intimate friends. This revelation transforms the Sussex tribute statement from touching remembrance into something far more sinister. By claiming a relationship that didn't exist, Harry and Meghan used Jane Goodall's death as an opportunity for self-promotion, inserting themselves into a global conversation about her legacy when they had no real connection to her life's work. Royal commentators suggest this pattern of behavior has become the Sussex calling card. They attach themselves to major news events, tragedies, and celebrations, always finding a way to make themselves part of the story regardless of their actual involvement or relationship to the situation. The Jane Goodall funeral snub represents something deeper than simple social rudeness. It reveals a couple so disconnected from authentic human relationships that they cannot distinguish between genuine friendship and publicity opportunities. But this embarrassing revelation was just setting the stage for an even more humiliating expose of their professional incompetence. The entertainment industry is built on professionalism, timing, and respect. What happened during Prince Harry's meetings with Netflix executives has become the stuff of Hollywood legend, but not for reasons that reflect well on the Sussex brand. Industry insiders describe encounters so unprofessional and childish that they've become cautionary tales shared among entertainment executives as examples of how not to conduct business. The most damaging revelation centers around Harry's beverage preferences during what should have been career-defining meetings. According to multiple sources, when offered the standard selection of coffee, tea, or water that any professional would expect, Harry made a request that left Netflix executives questioning whether they were dealing with a serious business partner or an overgrown child. "Do you have hot chocolate?" Harry allegedly asked, completely oblivious to how inappropriate this request was in a high-stakes business environment. Entertainment industry veterans describe this moment as the kind of behavior that immediately signals to executives that they're not dealing with someone who understands professional norms or business etiquette. The request becomes even more embarrassing when you consider the context. This wasn't a casual social gathering or a family-friendly event where hot chocolate might be appropriate. This was a multi-million-dollar content creation meeting with one of the world's largest streaming platforms, where adults discuss serious business matters that affect thousands of jobs and massive financial investments. But Harry's childish beverage choice was just the beginning of his professional disasters. Sources reveal that he consistently showed up late to crucial meetings, displaying a level of disrespect that would be career-ending for any normal person in the entertainment industry. In Hollywood, where time is literally money and schedules are sacred, arriving late signals that you don't take the opportunity seriously. The contrast with Meghan's behavior is equally revealing, though in a completely different way. While Harry embarrassed himself with juvenile requests and chronic tardiness, Meghan allegedly alienated executives with her dismissive attitude and obvious belief that she was smarter than everyone in the room. Sources describe her as controlling and condescending, treating seasoned entertainment professionals like subordinates rather than partners. This combination of Harry's immaturity and Meghan's arrogance has reportedly made the couple toxic within Hollywood circles. Entertainment executives, who deal with difficult personalities as part of their daily routine, describe the Sussexes as uniquely challenging to work with because they bring none of the talent or commercial appeal that might justify their problematic behavior. The hot chocolate story has taken on symbolic significance within the industry because it perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with the Sussex approach to business. Harry's inability to read the room, his complete disconnection from professional norms, and his apparent belief that his royal title should excuse any behavior, have combined to create a reputation that no amount of public relations can repair. Perhaps most tellingly, sources suggest that these meetings often felt more like babysitting sessions than business negotiations, with executives having to manage Harry's juvenile impulses while simultaneously trying to extract workable content ideas from a couple that seemed fundamentally unserious about their professional commitments. But the professional humiliations were about to get even worse. The desperation became absolutely palpable when Prince Harry's team attempted to explain away what royal watchers are calling one of the most transparent attempts at overshadowing Prince William in recent memory. The timing of Harry's Canada announcement, dropping precisely as his brother launched a major environmental initiative in Brazil, was so obviously calculated that even his most sympathetic supporters struggled to defend the coincidence. But what happened next transformed an already embarrassing situation into a complete public relations disaster. Rather than simply acknowledging the unfortunate timing or remaining silent, Harry's spokesperson decided to offer an explanation that revealed more about the Sussex mindset than they probably intended. According to the official statement, Harry couldn't provide advance notice of his Canada trip because he doesn't receive the same level of security protection as working members of the royal family. The spokesperson claimed that this security limitation means the period of time in which we can release details of events is much more truncated than it is for His Majesty the King or the Prince of Wales. The explanation immediately fell apart under even basic scrutiny. Royal security experts pointed out that if Harry was genuinely concerned about safety threats requiring such secrecy, the logical response would be to avoid announcing trips altogether, not to strategically time announcements for maximum media impact. The security excuse becomes even more ridiculous when you consider Harry's recent behavior. This is the same man who bragged in his memoir about killing 25 Taliban fighters, potentially putting himself and his family at risk from retaliatory attacks. If security was truly his primary concern, publishing those details would rank among the most dangerous things he could possibly do. Furthermore, Harry's team claimed that months of planning went into the Canada visit, which raises obvious questions about why he was wearing Los Angeles Dodgers gear just days before honoring Canadian veterans. The optics couldn't have been worse, suggesting either complete tone deafness or deliberate provocation of Canadian sensibilities. Royal commentators describe the security excuse as particularly pathetic because it represents Harry's continued obsession with the protection and privileges he gave up when he chose to leave royal duties. Rather than accepting the consequences of his decisions, he's still publicly complaining about not receiving the same treatment as working royals who actually fulfill their constitutional responsibilities. The statement also inadvertently revealed how much Harry's team monitors and responds to William's schedule. By offering such a detailed explanation for the timing coincidence, they essentially admitted that they're paying close attention to the Prince of Wales's activities and making strategic decisions based on his movements. Perhaps most damaging of all, the security excuse reinforced the perception that Harry sees himself as a perpetual victim deserving of special treatment. His inability to simply apologize for the poor timing or acknowledge the appearance of deliberate overshadowing suggests a level of entitlement that even former supporters find increasingly difficult to defend. But Harry's excuses were about to be completely undermined by an even more hypocritical scandal. The stunning hypocrisy reached nuclear levels when Prince Harry appeared on a podcast to discuss keeping children safe from social media, just hours after his wife had posted videos that clearly showed their own children's faces before hastily editing them out. The timing couldn't have been more perfectly disastrous if it had been orchestrated by their enemies. Harry's appearance with comedian Hassan Minhaj was supposed to be a serious discussion about digital wellness and protecting young people from the harmful effects of social media platforms. Instead, it became a masterclass in royal hypocrisy that left observers questioning whether Harry has any self-awareness whatsoever about his own family's contradictory behavior. During the interview, Harry pontificated about the dangers of social media exposure for children. Speaking with the authority of someone who supposedly understands the risks of digital platforms, he encouraged parents to be vigilant about their children's online presence and to carefully consider the long-term implications of sharing family content on social media platforms. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Even as Harry was recording this lecture about digital responsibility, Meghan was at home allegedly posting content that violated the very principles he was discussing. Sources suggest that the videos initially showed clear shots of their children's faces before being quickly edited when someone realized the mistake. But the social media scandal goes much deeper than simple timing issues. According to reports from Page 6, Harry has become increasingly frustrated with Meghan's constant need to document and share their private family moments. Sources describe him as very aware of her parading him around and uncomfortable with the social media display that has become central to Meghan's brand strategy. This alleged tension within the Sussex household reveals a fundamental disagreement about privacy that strikes at the heart of their public persona. Harry, who claims to have left royal life to protect his family's privacy, reportedly watches helplessly as his wife systematically destroys that privacy for content creation and publicity purposes. The contradiction becomes even more glaring when you consider Harry's stated concerns about his children's safety. If he's genuinely worried about security threats requiring special protection arrangements, why would he tolerate his wife posting identifiable content featuring their children on social media platforms accessible to millions of people worldwide? Entertainment industry observers suggest that this internal conflict represents a breaking point for the Sussex brand. Harry's public complaints about Meghan's social media behavior signal a level of marital discord that no amount of carefully crafted joint appearances can disguise. The Hassan Minhaj interview also revealed Harry's complete inability to articulate what he actually does for work. When asked about his profession, he could only manage to say that his children think he helps other people, suggesting that even he doesn't understand his own professional identity or purpose. But this social media hypocrisy scandal was about to pale in comparison to the most devastating comparison yet. The final nail in Meghan Markle's coffin came when respected royal biographer Tom Bower delivered what may be the most devastating assessment of her post-royal trajectory ever published. His comparison between Meghan and Sarah Ferguson represents the complete collapse of her carefully constructed image as a modern-day Princess Diana figure. "She's not Diana, she's Fergie," Bower declared in a Daily Mail column that sent shockwaves through royal circles and entertainment industry insiders alike. The comparison is absolutely brutal because it strips away every pretension Meghan has cultivated about her role in royal history and her future prospects in American celebrity culture. The parallels between Meghan and Sarah Ferguson are indeed striking and deeply unflattering. Both women entered the royal family as outsiders with Hollywood connections. Both struggled with the constraints of royal protocol and public expectations. Both ultimately left under clouds of scandal and controversy, taking their royal titles with them into commercial ventures that have consistently failed to live up to their ambitious promises. But the most damaging aspect of the Fergie comparison lies in what it predicts for Meghan's future. Sarah Ferguson's post-royal career has been characterized by increasingly desperate attempts to monetize her royal connection through everything from weight loss endorsements to QVC appearances. She has become a cautionary tale about what happens when former royals refuse to gracefully retreat from public life. Royal commentators suggest that Meghan is already following Ferguson's playbook with alarming precision. The children's books, the podcast ventures, the lifestyle brand attempts, and now the return to acting all mirror Ferguson's scattered attempts to maintain relevance through commercial partnerships that consistently disappoint both financially and critically. The comparison becomes even more devastating when you consider the timing of Bower's assessment. Just as Meghan attempts to stage her Hollywood comeback with close personal friends, industry insiders are questioning whether she has any genuine talent beyond her ability to generate controversy and headlines. Sources close to the film production describe a project that feels more like vanity publishing than serious cinema. The fact that Meghan is essentially playing herself in the movie reinforces the perception that she lacks the range and skill to tackle more challenging roles that might restore her credibility as an actress. Entertainment executives who spoke to Page Six described the current Sussex brand as stale and suggest that Hollywood has completely lost interest in whatever Harry and Meghan are trying to sell. The enthusiasm that once surrounded their Netflix deal has evaporated, replaced by industry-wide skepticism about their ability to deliver commercially viable content. The Fergie comparison also explains why William and Catherine have reportedly decided to take decisive action against the Sussex threat. Unlike Diana, whose tragic death transformed her into an untouchable icon, Ferguson's long decline into irrelevance provides a roadmap for how former royals can be gradually marginalized without creating martyrs or sympathetic figures. Royal sources suggest that the stripping of titles may now be inevitable, transforming Harry and Meghan from global celebrities into footnotes in royal history. Drop your thoughts below about this explosive breakdown. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.